Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
6:07 on this Wednesday morning in your nation's capital, and we're really happy that we can help wake you up and get you informed. If you're wondering, the Wisconsin Supreme Court seat did go to the liberal justice, but in that state, they voted in voter ID. Also, both congressional seats in Florida went Republican. Now, coming up later in the program at 6:35, Cal Thomas will be here. 7:05, David Sentner, who has a new podcast about victims of the cancel culture. 7:35, Maryland Senator Justin Reedy is going to join us, find out what Democrats got away with in Annapolis this time around. And at 8:35, E.J. Antoni is going to try to speak some sanity to the whole tariff thing we're about to hear about today on what Donald Trump has called Liberation Day in America. Julie Gunlock, will you feel liberated when we impose tariffs on our trading partners?
Well, it will be. It will be.
We'll ask E.J. Antoni about that. Let's let the economics expert figure it out for us. I'm keeping an open mind. You worked in the Senate, Julie Gunlock, for Senator DeWine before he became Governor DeWine. I'm curious, did the senator ever participate in a filibuster?
Not that I recall.
There are two types of filibusters. One is just merely more than 41 senators of one party gathering to block cloture. Cloture means that you're done with the debate. It's now time to move on to the vote. And it requires 60 votes to do that. And it's technically deemed, I guess, a filibuster if there are enough senators, 41 is all it takes, to deny the end of debate. Basically, they're saying, no, we got to keep talking about it. We're going to keep. And then oftentimes in the past, senators would have to actually keep debating and keep talking. And they'd force, like, okay, fine. You don't want to end debate? Then keep talking. And they just got to keep talking. Famous example of this, of course, would be Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, right? Jimmy Stewart with
Strom Thurmond had a really
one-man filibuster. Strom Thurmond in real life actually had that was to oppose civil rights measures to end segregation in the South. But you bring up a very good point. Strom Thurmond had a very long filibuster to stop civil rights legislation in the South. It ended up not really being fruitful, but he drew a lot of attention to himself. Ted Cruz recently had the record for the longest one-man filibuster on the Senate. He was trying to block the implementation of Obamacare. And during that filibuster, aside from reading Green Eggs and Ham at one point, because it was bedtime for his children, which I'll always remember, he also laid out all of the reasons why the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, was going to make insurance more expensive in this country, harder to get, and people who liked their doctors and liked their insurance company would eventually get booted out of those plans that they liked. In other words, he was right about every single thing.
Yep.
But sadly, Ted Cruz's filibuster also did not work. That legislation went through. Well, Ted Cruz now has to take a back seat. There's a new record holder. There's a new champion of the filibuster, Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. Here's the weird thing. As you do, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, famous filibuster to expose corruption. Strom Thurmond, filibuster to stop civil rights legislation. Ted Cruz, filibuster to stop Obamacare. Senator Cory Booker stood and talked for over 24 hours on the Senate floor for no reason whatsoever.
No one knows why.
Literally nobody knows why. There was no pending legislation. He could have gone on for another 48 hours.
It might as well have been Green Eggs and Ham.
Yes, it could have. To name Dr. Seuss, the poet laureate. I don't know. They're truly. Wow, Cory Booker is doing a one-man filibuster. Really, what legislation is he trying to stop? Oh, there's no bill pending.
Honestly, Larry, it's very funny. When I saw this in show prep, I thought, I don't know what he was filibustering. I'll let Larry explain.
I have explained it. He was literally filibustering nothing. I don't even know why they're calling this a filibuster, because there was nothing pending in front of the Senate. But here's what it sounded like for all you fans of Cory Booker.
To call to the conscience of this nation, to say I will not stand for another American to lose their health care for a billionaire. I will not stand for another veteran who's dedicated to stopping the suicide of other veterans to lose their job. I won't stand for the air quality in my community to be made worse because they're letting polluters pollute more. I won't stand for the collective assaults on the Constitution by a man who even the highest judge in our land, a Republican-appointed judge, said stop threatening and bullying other branches of government. When is it going to be enough? My voice is inadequate. My efforts today are inadequate to stop what they're trying to do. But we, the people, are powerful. We are strong. We have changed history. We have bent the arc of the moral universe. And now is that moral moment again. It's the moral moment again. God bless America. We need you now. God bless America. If you love her, if you love your neighbor, if you love this country, show your love. Stop them from doing what they're trying to do. For almost 20 hours, we have laid out what they're trying to do. 20 hours. I want to stand more, and I will, but I'm begging people, don't let this be another normal day in America.
Wow. No, there you go. He was right about the whole inadequate thing.
Yes, he was.
So here's my problem. He's 20 hours in. He's ranting like that. Obviously, he's throwing, he's at least displaying passion. Whether it's real or not is yet to be seen. But, I'll take him at his word. He's passionate about this. Here's my problem. This is an insight into my own psychosis. I'm watching this 20 hours in, and the only thing I can think of is, how is he peeing?
Right. I don't get it, honestly.
How did he pee? The body has certain functions.
I was not going to bring this up. I'm glad you did.
Was there a catheter? Was there a big gulp behind his desk?
I don't think you would catheterize yourself. That was very painful. I think there could be, I don't want to say. I mean, there could be adult diapers involved, right?
It depends. Honestly, it's just so fruitful. Can we go? I mean, it's ridiculous and sad and worthy of mockery. Can we go back to the golden era of filibusters when it meant something?
But since tonight, girls, you aren't here, you girls don't get to pick the book, so I got to pick Green Eggs and Ham. And I love this story, and so I'm going to read it to you. Sam I am. That Sam I am, that Sam I am. I do not like that Sam I am. Do you like?
Ted Cruz, back in 2014, I believe it was, or 13, trying to stop the implementation of Obamacare. And he went on and on and on, well into the evening, reading his daughters a bedtime story. So now that's how you do it. He's not frantic. His eyes are... By the way, I've been watching... wait, can we check in on Senator Cruz?
I do not like them.
Oh, yeah.
Sam I am. Would you like them in a house?
Yeah, he's still going. All right. Here's the thing. I was watching Cory Booker. Have you noticed that he's got the frog eye thing going?
Does he?
Yeah. So he doesn't cross-eye. He actually goes in the out, like his eyes are sort of focused. They're going north and south, or east and west, I should say.
Well,
you know what I mean? Which I call frog-eyed. It's like, does he have a lazy eye, or does he have one eye that's just sort of permanently looking in the other direction, like somebody's coming at him? Which is quite possible. We know what he's done in the men's room before. Or was that Don Lemon? I get them confused. Oh, no. Cory Booker is Spartacus. Remember during the confirmation hearings of Brett Kavanaugh?
This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment.
Well, no, you outdid yourself. Although Spartacus, of course, at the end of the day got crucified. Senator Cruz, what do you have to say?
I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like Green Eggs and Ham. I do not like them. Sam I am.
It's 6:15, WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the fives with Jamie Whitten in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Nay. Behold, Lord, here I am. And so I confess that I have been imperfect. I confess that I've been inadequate to the moment. I confess that the Democratic Party has made terrible mistakes, that have given lane to this demagogue. I confess we all must look in the mirror and say we will do better. And it's not just defining ourselves what we're against. We, the next generation, as the baby boomers are leaving the stage, the last baby boomer president, we have to say that we're going to redeem the dream. We're going to dream America anew. We're going to start talking about bold things that don't divide people, that unite people. Bold things that excite the moral imagination of a country to do better, to go higher, that call us together. This is the time where new leaders in our country must emerge. I'm not talking about senators. I'm talking about citizens.
Kamala's voice sounds different, doesn't it? Has he got the word salad disease? Is that what's going on here?
Most Democrats do. Most
beautiful
Democrats do.
Platitudes. The platitudes.
Yes.
I confess that I have not met the moment. I confess. Like, dude, all right, I know it's Lent, but save your confessions for the privacy of your... None of those things are sins, by the way. Boy, would imagine hearing Cory Booker's confession.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
I'm not going to go there. Hey, let's move from political news in the United States Senate, and let's talk gossip. Elon Musk, as you know, has spread his seed all around this nation and has impregnated, well, I don't know how many women he's impregnated, but I do know that he has spawned 15 children, right? 15? Is that the number that we're up to now?
I think that's the count, yeah.
Okay. Well, we should check on that.
Do we include Amber Heard's kids in that count? I can't remember.
I don't.
No,
well,
really?
no. I don't.
Is that official?
I don't think that's official. I think that's
okay.
a kind of rumored thing. I'm not sure though. Honestly, we'll have to get a tally on that. And he was just spending several days in Wisconsin, so we could have little baby cheese curds coming in about 9 months now. You never know.
Okay.
Everybody, watch your Badgers.
All right.
See what might happen. The latest baby spawned by Elon Musk that we're aware of was birthed by conservative influencer Ashley St. Clair, which, of course, is not her real name. And I don't think those are her real boobs either. But
okay.
Ashley St.
All right.
What? I mean, not... Ashley St. Clair was caught, I love this, caught by cameramen.
Right.
From the Daily Mail yesterday in New York.
After she called them.
Of course. Oh, gosh, what are you doing here?
I'll be outside my apartment with my Tesla.
I look fabulous just in time for the cameras, except when she turns profile. Ashley St. Clair.
Larry.
No, really, if she's playing a plastic surgeon for parts of your body, get the nose done while you're at it.
Oh, my God.
Lord. That honker
Nobody's
of
looking
hers.
at her nose, Larry. One's looking at her nose.
I guess that's what she's counting on. God. I said we were going to dabble in gossip. All right, so Ashley St. Clair, after receiving $2.5 million from Elon Musk for the benefit of what, for all we know, was a one-night stand that resulted in a baby, plus $500,000 in cash per year, plus personal security, plus a New York City penthouse apartment, plus a free souped-up Tesla, Ashley St. Clair claims that she is in dire straits, that Elon Musk has abandoned her and her baby. And so in front of all of the cameras yesterday, she sold her Tesla.
I'm selling it because I need to make up for the 60% cut that Elon made to our son's child support.
Why do you think that he did that?
That's a great question for him.
You feel like he was sort of like vindictive against you in some way?
Yeah, that's his modus operandi when women speak out.
When was the last time that you spoke to him or tried to speak to him?
February 13th.
But he's just not responding to you at all?
So there you go. It's amazing how those photographers
he's not
just
responding
happen
to me he's not responding to me except that you got $2.5 million and an apartment and a Tesla. Yeah, I don't think this is the way to get him to respond. By the way, I have a great nose and it's gotten nothing for me. So I just want
well, I would take issue with that. I mean, my understanding is Darren Gunlock, your husband, is a nose man, and you secured him with that cute little button.
There we go.
Here's the best part. All that money that Musk has given this Ashley St. Clair person, and Musk admitted yesterday, he replied to this video on X platform. I love that this is all playing out on his social media.
I know.
He says, I don't know if the child is mine or not. I'm not against finding out. No court order is needed. Despite not knowing for sure, I've given Ashley $2.5 million, and I'm sending her $500,000 a year. So he's not even sure that that's his baby, and he's fine with that. Meanwhile, Elon did have time yesterday to show up on the 5. It was, by the way, great fireworks with Jessica Tarlov. Maybe we'll get a chance to show that a little later. But he announced that they have investigated and they know who's behind all of the violence, the organized terrorism against Tesla showrooms.
General Bondi has said the same thing. I believe that is exactly what will happen.
Do you know who they are?
We're coming for them.
Do you know who those generals are?
We know. We do.
We do. So there you go. They're going after him. Pam Bondi has said that they're going to start prosecutions as soon as they identify who it is. Elon says that they have identified, so we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, I don't know if Ashley St. Clair is telling the truth in this whole thing, this whole paternity suit deal, right?
But she seems so trustworthy.
Well, again, this is one of the reasons why I don't aspire to be an influencer, because influencers do things to get attention instead of actually, deliver credible information and thoughtful and entertaining analysis. But there is something about her that she lacks credibility. Maybe it's a Pinocchio thing. I'm not sure. It's 6:23.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
6:36, O'Connor and Company. Our filibuster continues. We're only going to go for 4 hours, though, to get you up and out of your house and onto the roadways and into work. A little better informed and hopefully a little entertained. Coming up at 7:05, David Sentner. He invented Easy Pass, by the way. It's two sides to that coin. But he's got a new podcast out called Erased about victims of cancel culture. Then at 7:35, Maryland Senator Reedy will tell us what the Democrats got away with in Annapolis this time around. And at 8:35, E.J. Antonio will explain all this tariff stuff to us and how free market, free trade conservatives should jump on board. I'm keeping an open mind, Julie Gunlock. How about you?
You do that. We'll see.
I'll do that for both of us. Joining us right now is Syndicated columnist and bon vivant Cal Thomas. Cal, sorry for throwing down some French there this early in the morning, but I know you can take it.
Well, Larry, the thing about an open mind, you better be careful your brain doesn't fall out.
I've heard about that phenomenon.
Yes. They have it in Washington especially.
Listen, we've been talking about these. Do you have any quick takeaways from what happened in Wisconsin and in Florida there last night, or can we go on to more important things?
Well, I'm always amused by the way the media treat this. New York Times this morning, big psychological boost for Democrats and 6 takeaways from the election and all this stuff. And then the Cory Booker thing, of course, you would think he was Nathan Hale or Daniel Webster, one of our great orators of the past. They downplay, of course, the New York Times and the Post, the 2 election victories in Florida, which, of course, they had said earlier it was a test on Trump. But now that Trump passed the test in Florida, we move it on to other things. And Wisconsin gives them a psychological boost. Typical.
Yes and no, but voter ID passed in Wisconsin. Here's what's weird about voters. They overwhelmingly passed voter ID and yet elect a judge to the Supreme Court who will probably overturn voter ID.
Yeah, I know. And, well, I think they made, the Democrats are always looking for a boogeyman, and their boogeyman was Elon Musk. Even though Elon Musk is doing what an overwhelming number of Americans want, cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, the size of the federal government, and so many other things. So you take one poll, people mostly like that. That's good. Then you take another poll on something else, and you ask the question a different way, and you get a different answer, and that's what the media promote.
Well, speaking of Elon Musk, what drives me crazy is the media, including, frankly, our own newsreader, is saying that, Elon Musk put so much money in Wisconsin, ignoring Soros and Pritzker and other liberals who, for months before Elon even got involved, were putting money from California, from other states. I mean, this was not Wisconsin money that helped to pay for this woman's election. So it is kind of galling that again, Elon Musk is the focus here when he only got in at the last minute.
That's absolutely right. And as our friend Chris Plant always says, the greatest power the media have is the power to ignore. And so you just hear about Elon Musk pouring money in, but you don't hear anything about these others. And by the way, Julie, you said something about driving you crazy. I believe that's an offense in D.C., driving while crazy.
Well, I work with Larry. It's something I have to deal with.
Hey, I'm sitting right here, you two. All right, let's turn on to, as I said, more important things. I've got a little preview of your column tomorrow. We saw on Friday that Columbia University made a settlement with the Trump administration so they can keep getting their $400 million in grants. And they're going to do, the bare minimum of security and free speech on their campus in exchange for that. But you ask a more important question. Why in the hell are we giving all of these Ivy League universities all this money anyway?
That's right. How come we don't get some kind of itemized sheet on what it is they're doing with that money? I mean, is it research? And if it is research, what kind of research? And what kind of track record do they have for the research that is actually producing results? These schools, Harvard, so many others, have these billions of dollars in endowments. And I think there ought to be hearings before the Republican House on what they're doing with the money. It's our money. We have a right to know.
I'm glad that we are so solvent and not in debt or anything for generations to come that we can afford $2 trillion to these Ivy League universities who, as you said, already have the endowments. I mean, that's the other big part of this, isn't it? We can't afford this. A trillion here, a trillion there, it starts to add up, Cal.
Larry, I don't want to sound old, but when I was a freshman at American University in Washington, my first-year tuition was $450. Later, when it went up some, I took out a student loan. My father co-signed it. He required me to pay it back on my own, which I did, and I got a reasonably decent education, despite what my liberal friends think. So I just find this whole notion that the government needs to pour all this money in universities, and what do they get? They get wokeism. They get anti-Semitism. They get anti-Israel. They get anti-Trump. This is political stuff, and it ought to stop.
And you don't sound old ever, Cal, but while we're talking about your time at American University, how was your roommate, Robert Byrd? Was that pretty...
No, I had two roommates, and one of them I met years later on New Year's Eve in Times Square. I couldn't believe it. Talk about a small world.
Right. But Robert Byrd was a famous alum from that was class of 1917, though, so I don't think we should...
I missed him just by a couple of years.
I understand. All right. Cal, thanks for joining us as always.
Thanks, Cal.
Have a great one. It is 6:43. He opened the door for the age question. I don't tend to dwell on that, Julie. There but for the grace of God. Some would say that I'm old in this business. Too old, some would say. It's 6:43. Yesterday, we discussed the fact that Kid Rock sort of rocked an Evel Knievel outfit while going to the White House and visiting with President Trump. There was more that Kid Rock has now brought to the table with regard to this visit. He talked about the fact that he brought Bill Maher to the table and they had dinner with Donald Trump. Just the three of them, apparently. Or was there one more person at that table? I can't remember now, but I'll take a look. But anyway, he revealed on Fox News yesterday the most shocking thing that happened at that dinner.
Could not have been better. Everyone was so surprised, so pleasant. The most shocking thing to me was, Bill's obviously a very big liberal, been very hard on the president, but he's donated a lot of money to other politicians. You've had Biden, Clinton, Obama, everybody. He had never been to the White House, and the president was so gracious. He took us up to the private residence. We saw the Gettysburg Address in the Lincoln bedroom, and I was like, "You've never been here, Bill?" And I was like, "How about this, President Trump? Extending this olive branch and we talked about things we had in common, ending wokeness, securing the border." The president was asking him what he thought about policy, going on with Iran and Israel and things. It just it blew my mind. I was very, very proud.
Very proud, he said. By the way, what other kind of cute incident that was revealed during the Five yesterday with Kennedy?
And he has been relentless, really, ever since.
Yeah, well, Bill, when he showed up at the White House, he had actually brought a list of insults Trump had said about him and gave it to Trump. And what did he do? He signed it.
How great is it? Bill Maher comes up with this piece of paper that has all these insults that Trump is, because Trump tweets about Bill Maher's show all the time and how, humorless it is and how unfunny Bill Maher is, and it's a terrible show and the ratings are low. So Bill Maher brings those on a paper and Trump autographs it and gives it back to him. That's cool. Who wouldn't frame that, by the way?
We're the last segment with Cal, we make all these age jokes, and we've been around for 100 years, blah blah blah. But the bottom line is, and what we need to remember, as someone who has been in Washington for quite a while, and so have you, this is how it used to be. right? Kid Rock is sort of presenting this as like, oh, this was great. And the sort of reaction is, oh, see, everyone can get along. Isn't that nice? It's a new thing. No. Actually, this is how it used to be. There's all these references to Reagan and Tip O'Neill, who used to like fight and then have a drink, right? And I don't know if that's true or not, but the idea was Republicans and Democrats used to be able to like sort of fight it out on the floor and then, go to happy hour. And this is how it used to be. And so I appreciate this story. I just don't think that this is maybe the world healing, politics healing a little bit again.
Maybe. I don't know. I think Trump does this because he wants to ingratiate himself and sort of get better coverage and better attention from Bill Maher, and I don't think it's going to work. I think Bill Maher is a vitriolic, nasty person.
Yeah.
And that being said, I mean, we're very supportive and very nice to the president. We haven't been invited over for dinner, so maybe we got to start calling him names. One other thing that happened there while Kid Rock had his time at the White House, there's musical instruments all around. Oftentimes, Trump will employ, parts of the Marine Corps band or a string quartet, and they'll be playing music while there's an event going on and stuff like that. And so apparently, Kid Rock, not apparently, this video has been published now on social media. Kid Rock stopped at a grand piano that was apparently President Franklin Roosevelt Steinway from 1938.
Wow.
And Kid Rock, rapper, hip-hop artist, hard rocker, Kid Rock sits down at FDR's grand piano. He's actually a very talented musician.
Oh, he is.
And
yes,
he knows how to play a lot of instruments. That was kind of cool. So there you go. Kid, I mean, I know that Cory Booker said he's our last boomer president. Yeah, maybe. But, the Gen X is all over this presidency. And it's about freaking time that we bring it. It's 6:52.
Making sense of your world.
Thanks for taking my call.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Greatly appreciated.
Making sense of the news.